Absolutely.
So I mean, I grew up in the church, but it was a lot of like religion that I grew up in,
Hmm.
and it was really focused on doing good works in order to get to heaven. And I, when I got into high school, I started to walk away from that because it was one of those things that when you mess up and your faith is based on good works, then there's a lot of shame that comes with that.
Yeah.
And it basically, you feel like you can't live up to that because you can't. And then, yeah, as I got into high school, I got into drugs
Mm.
and partying and stuff like that. And I basically walked as far away from God as I possibly could. And then I got to the point of hitting rock bottom. I started out with like just smoking marijuana, but then one day I tried heroin, and that was my wake up moment.
Jeez.
And yeah, I just remember I was outside. I just cried out to Jesus, and I didn't even know like that God can speak to you. I didn't know anything about the Holy Spirit or nothing,
Hmm.
but I just cried out to Jesus, and all that I didn't know what it was, but I could just like hear it, and he said, "Why, William?"
Yeah.
And it was just like through a crazy turn of events. Like the next day at work, someone was talking about YWAM, and so that's how I ended up actually getting to YWAM Louisville. And I didn't go with the plan of staying in missions my whole life. I went with the plan of doing my discipleship training school and going home and working and making money.
Hmm.
And I would say most of the people that come, that's their plan.
Right.
Like Isaac, I don't think he came with a plan of coming back on staff. But yeah, when I was there, one day the Lord just asked me. He said, "What do you want to do in life?" And this was about halfway through my discipleship training school. And before that, my answer was always like, I want to go work, I want to go make money." And I just like took a few minutes to think about it, and I was just like, I want to disciple people, and I want to go into the nations. And so from that moment on, I was like, I want to do missions. It's especially being on staff at Wyoming, it's a great opportunity to do both of those things.
Yeah.
I get to disciple the students that come through, and also get to go on an outreach every year, sometimes two, and so it's a great opportunity to do both of those things.
Okay. Cool. How about you, man? What pulled you into this situation?
Um, well, I'll just go back a little bit too and tell a little bit of my story.
Yeah,
If that's
absolutely.
fine.
Go for it.
So, growing up, I didn't really have a dad. He was in and out of prison,
Hmm.
selling drugs and doing drugs and all that kind of stuff. And my mom, she was trying to get away from all that. So that's when I was about 7. My parents got divorced.
Yeah.
And I I was a bitter like young person. Didn't didn't really talk to a lot of people and kind of isolated myself.
Yeah.
And I was a sophomore in high school and started hanging out with the wrong crowd, started partying,
Hmm.
started smoking pot, stuff like that.
Yeah.
Um, and I've always kind of wanted like that father. I wanted like a father in my life.
Yeah.
And so I knew that my dad also did drugs.
Hmm.
So I was like, hey, I'm gonna go to my dad's house. Maybe he wanna, do
Yeah.
drugs with me. And then so it just kind of turned into a horrible thing of like, me doing drugs with my dad and like going off partying and this whole time, I was on my worship team in my church,
Mm.
and so I was living this complete double life.
Yeah.
And so yeah, a lot of shame. So I didn't want to have anything to do with God because I didn't want that shame in my heart. I didn't want that shame over me.
Yeah.
So it was 2017.
Yeah.
And she's her name's Kristen, but she's not at YWAM anymore. She left.
Yeah.
But she came to my church because she's from where I used to live.
Yeah.
In my hometown, and she said that they needed more men for their discipleship training school.
Yeah.
Which was weird that she said more men, and she also was talking about how there's a worship track that you can do and all this stuff. And I was like, wow, I sound like I love music and all that kind of stuff. And
Yeah.
I've always loved music. I'm a musician, but of course I had no interest because I was a drug addict and all that kind of double life, living horrible. But I would still go to church every Sunday.
Yeah.
And so this was a week. The Sunday that Kristen came to speak at my church, it was a week before the discipleship training school was going to start.
Okay.
And it's a good amount of money to do your discipleship training school. It's not cheap. And
What is it to do your discipleship training?
It's around $3,400.
Does it vary to location?
Yeah.
Yeah, if you go out of country, it's a lot more.
Okay. All right.
But it was on a Wednesday morning, and I woke up 2 hours before my alarm went off to go to work, and I heard a voice audible in my room, and it said, "Go to LOAM," and I wasn't even really quite sure what LOAM was because I wasn't really paying attention or anything, so I didn't even really know what LOAM was.
Yeah.
So I kept hearing that voice, and it freaked me out, and I kept I thought I was tripping or something, but I wasn't, man. Like, it was definitely the voice of God, and it was in my room, and the presence was in my room, and I could feel it all over my body, and it was almost like I was paralyzed.
Wow.
And at that moment, I knew that I was going to LOAM, and I didn't know for sure. I didn't know how I was going to raise the money.
Mm-hmm.
But throughout the day, the Lord said, you need to tell your church the double life that you've been living, because it wouldn't be right for you to ask them for money and they don't know who you really are. And so I went to my church leadership, and told them that I'm basically a drug addict, and that the Lord spoke to me this morning, and He told me this. And I really want to do this, and I know that God wants me to do this. And I was like, would y'all pray about supporting me? And mouths dropped, and they're all just like, what? We had no idea, And my mom, she didn't know that I was doing drugs. She was on the leadership team, and she was just so hurt, and I could just see it, and I was bawling, tears down my face, telling how I've been living, and But man, the pastor at my church was just he was like, we'll pay your whole tuition to go to your discipleship training school. And I was like, wow, it takes that one little bit of faithfulness to obey God, and He will take it all the way.
Do you guys feel? Well, I know that you guys feel the significance in your life, but do you guys feel like everybody